Hey, I'm Jeff. Welcome back to Code 4 Cooking. Today, in part of our egg series, we're going to go ahead and show you how to do basted eggs. One of my favorite. My name is Jeff Antonaco. I was a paramedic for over 26 years. I did my bit for king and country, but it took its toll. Physically, emotionally, and mentally. One thing that could always bring me peace and calm, and that's cooking. Ask my partners. We ate well. Now I want to share that place with you. For my first responder and military family, I want to share my knowledge and experience of cooking, start to finish, with me, and hope you can find your peace and calm while cooking. And to anyone else just starting or in need of a person to cook with, from gathering and prepping our ingredients to cooking, and finally plating and tasting, let's help you find that peace and calm as well in cooking. So come on, cook with me. Alright, so we're going to do basted eggs. I'm going to show you a couple different ways of doing this. So we're going to get our pan started up here. One of the ways that we're going to be doing this is we're going to be utilizing some bacon fat later on. So we're going to get that started in our skillet. Whatever kind of bacon you like, this just happens to be a thick cut applewood smoked bacon. And so, basted eggs essentially are steaming them. So it's not poached where it's actually completely cooking in the liquid. And it's not sunny side up. And it's not over easy because you don't have to turn them. And that's the advantage of having a basted egg if you like your tops cooked. You know, I've referred to it in the past, the top of the yolk is covered in part of the whites. A lot of people refer to it as the slime. And if you don't mind that, sunny side up eggs gives you that perfect runny yolk. If you want a perfect runny yolk without having to turn it, that's why we use basted. So we'll actually take a little bit of water, pour it in the pan after the whites are starting to set, and cover it with a lid. You can cover it with a lid or another pan. But this way you go ahead and you actually get the coverage that you're looking for. It takes about 30 seconds, lift it up, and comes right out. Now I'm going to do this in a non-stick skillet. I'm going to do it in a stainless steel skillet. Then I'm going to show you what we're doing with the bacon. So don't mind the bacon over here. I'm going to show you. I'll be turning the bacon now and again just to make sure that we're turning and keeping it crispy. In the meantime, we're going to go over to our non-stick. We have our non-stick pan here. We've got our eggs here, and I'm just going to do one egg at a time. Right? So we're going to go ahead and crack this egg into the bowl. Remember, you want to just crack it 2 hands. If you do it one-handed, all the more power to you. But we got our egg. Now we're going to get our pan turned up. I've shown you this in other videos. Your heat source is very important, whether you're using induction or gas or electric. It's about finding that perfect fit for your pan, because just because it says you can go to 8 or high doesn't mean that's good for the pan you're using. And so again, when we look here, we want the flame at the 3/4 mark around the pan. Right there. When we turn the light out, there's your blue flame. That's on high, so that's going to come way outside that pan. So we're going to turn that back down. We're going to go to here. And now again, that's heat is going to be right here, just where we want it. Cooking bacon, we're going to have some differing opinions. I start mine in a cold pan. But as you'll see, once the pan heats up, you're just going to keep cooking in a hot pan. So 6 of one, half dozen of the other doesn't really matter. So we always cook in fat, so we're going to use butter. I'm just going to take a little knob of butter from my non-stick skillet here. And here's the lid that I'm going to use. And you can see that will actually cover that pan. It came with this pan. pour 1 equal to it. All right, so we got a nice hot, excuse me, nice skillet here. And just get that butter moving around a little bit. And remember, fat is flavor, so that's why we're using butter. We're going to go ahead and we're going to pour our egg in. Now remember, when we do this, you set it down close to the pan and you just kind of roll it out. We're going to set it here and just roll it out into that pan. Now, so that's going to start to cook. And while that's starting to cook, we're going to take our small glass and we're just going to get like an ounce of water in it. Now, you can use hot water if you wanted to. I just got it right out of the tap. It's lukewarm. And once our egg starts cooking a little bit more, the rest of this pan is going to keep heating up more and more. And then when it's ready to be turned, if you were getting ready to turn it for over easy, that's when we're going to pour the water in and put the lid on and baste it. Okay, make sense? So we're not actually using a spatula to turn this. And over here, we're rendering our bacon for the last egg that we're going to cook. By the way, somebody asked me at one point how all this was going on with the video shoot, and it's been going well. I've had a lot of fun with this, but I've made mistakes in some of my filming. I ended up having to reshoot one of the egg series, and they said, well, why didn't you do it the same day? None of this food is being wasted. So what I'm going to cook is going to be my meal. So if I screw it up, you aren't going to see that because I'm going to reshoot it, but I can only eat so many eggs in a row in one day. That's how it works. Okay, back to our egg. Now you can see that whites are just about completely set. For some reason the yolk broke a little bit, but that's all right. The pan is hot. Give her a little bit of water. Be careful. Get your lid ready. And we're just going to pour the water in. And when you see that, it goes just enough to go all the way around the egg, and now the steam is circulating through. And as that steam comes across the top of the egg, we're going to cook the white part of that yolk. And it's only been a few seconds, and we're done. And so we can turn our pan off. We have a silicone spatula just to slide underneath here. Put it on our plate. Move that away from the heat. The gas is off. And look at that. It's a beautiful egg. I'll grab the fork and show you down here. Look at that. All that beautiful runny yolk is still there, waiting to be had. And oh, is it delicious. So now we're going to come over. We're going to do our stainless steel pan. Now I'm going to set this to the back of the stove. It's just got a little water in it. And I'm going to start this up. Grabbing my salt and pepper. And just season that egg while the pan warms up. We might be able to snack in the meantime. Alright, we're going to turn our bacon again. And you gauge how much you like your doneness. I know a lot of it makes a difference between whether or not it's a thin cut or a thick cut. Here's a tidbit. Grab my scissors. Now you see here how this piece is curling up? You take your scissors, make a little snip on the edge there, snip on the edge there, they lie down flat. See that? So it's just a little tip. Sometimes you cut in the center there, while they're cooking, and that keeps it from curling. And that keeps your bacon lying flat, cooking evenly all the way across. Now remember, you just use your scissors to cut mostly cooked, but still raw bacon. Set them off to the side. You'll have to wash them later before you use them for anything else. Alright, now this pan is getting close. Here's the interesting thing too. You've heard me talk before about using butter. And you've heard me talk before as well about the fact that when we put butter in a pan, you watch it as it cooks and it sizzles. You see all the bubbles that are coming up? That's actually the water content evaporating out of the butter. So, with this time, one of the things we're going to try to see how it works out the first round, we're going to put the butter in, we're going to put the egg in, and I'm going to put the lid on right away. And we're going to see if there's enough water moisture coming off the butter to finish cooking off that egg. So, got our egg. Crack it on a flat surface, remember. And it's flat surface so that we don't break the yolk. Here we go. Butter in. A lot of sizzling action with that butter. I'm going to pour our egg to the center of the pan. And now we're going to cover it. There. Now we're going to come look at our bacon. A couple of these pieces are looking great. Shake off the excess fat. And the bacon I used is, I cut in half, just for 3/4, so it fits the pan better. You don't have to. Just depends on what kind of pan you're using. Alright. Now we've had this in here for 30 seconds with the lid on. We know it's cooking itself. Let's go ahead and take a look down and lift up and see if it's done any good. Interestingly enough, because it has been steaming a little bit, there will be condensation on the top of that pan, the top of that lid. So when you lift the lid, turn it straight up so that that water drains down into the pan. Alright, we're going to have to add a little water for a quick steam. Here we go. There you go, multitasking a little bit, but you can see there, the egg is cooked perfectly. Now, because you remember in the other episodes when we were trying to turn it, we kind of slid underneath. The water has gone underneath this egg a little bit, so it's a lot easier to lift up. I've already turned my gas off. Take this one. Whew. Next time, try to bring the plate over so it's closer to you're not waving it across the room. Again, there you go. Got a beautiful egg. Look at that. And a fantastic yolk. Alright. See how that's curling up? I'll show you when we get in here. You give a little clip in the middle, and then on the edges. When you want to say why the edges, is because that's the smoke ring. And what it's doing is it's putting excess tension as it's cooking, and that smoke ring is starting to shrivel up. And so as it shrivels up, it makes everything curl. And as you can see, it doesn't take a lot. You don't have to clip a ton. But this is a great way for you to be able to have that bacon in that pan and have it laid flat. You know, it's different when you're on a Blackstone or a big flat steel cooktop. You want to put a spatula on and squish it down to cook it and keep it straight. That's one thing. But we're not really looking at that when we're doing it like this. So it'll help cook evenly. It's not going to stick to the bottom. We're dealing with cast iron. I'm going to move that pan off to the side. I do want you to be careful if you are using cast iron. I haven't talked about this a lot before, but the heat really covers well. It's a well-distributed heat. Now, same thing like the other pans where you want it 3/4 out, but it'll radiate. So this handle, you may find be getting a little too hot for your liking. Get an oven mitt. Don't burn yourself. You see we got another little curl here. So let's take care of that. And always push things away from you. You don't want to ever pour anything towards you because if you drop it, it's going to splash grease at you. So turn it away from you. Just like that. So there's that smoke ring. We're just going to clip that a little bit. Let's take a piece of bacon. Hang on. What do you got, baby? Just neighbor? Oh, oh. Got the kids in the cul-de-sac. They're playing with their toys. Alright, so the bacon's just about done. We're going to go ahead and crack this egg. Flat surface. Open it up. Alright. Now we know that you can see our grease is hot. It's been cooking the bacon. And so what we're going to do now is we're going to put our egg in here. Excuse me. And instead of using water, because that would be a disaster, absolute disaster, do not put water in grease. That is going to make it splash everywhere. It could catch fire. It'll blast back at you. You'll get burned. No water in bacon grease. Ever. Ever. Like I said, I was a paramedic for a long time and I saw a lot of burns come back like this. And they're devastating. Here's my spoon. What we're going to do when we get the egg in there, once the whites are mostly cooked, we're going to tilt that pan just a little bit. And we're going to take this spoon and spoon up that fat and just kind of roll it over top of the egg. And that's going to cook the white. Alright? Are we going to use water and bacon grease? No, we are not. Unless you want a one-way trip to the emergency room or the morgue, don't ever, ever, ever put water in. Alright. So we got our safety tip. Let's put our egg in. Same thing. Gonna pour it in. Be careful. Alright, cast iron, bacon grease, steel. Just slide it underneath so it's going to lift off again. Okay. Look at that. Now, something I hadn't mentioned to you before today, but I have on other episodes. There's enough residual heat in this pan because of the bacon fat, and you can see the smoke coming off here. That thing is clearly smoking hot. I'm going to turn the heat completely off. And just so you can get a feel for it, this is a thermometer from Thermopop. It's a Thermopop from Thermopen, I should say. We're going to turn that on. And no, I don't get anything for advertising for them. I'm just telling you that I got this because I love their product. Well, that's it. So I'm going to tilt the pan back, touch that in there. Water boils at 212 degrees. This bacon fat right now is just past 360 degrees. So now you understand why it would be so disastrous to add water. It would basically explode up in the pan. But because the grease is holding that much temperature, we can turn this off. And now the yolks are mostly, or the whites are mostly set. I'm going to use my oven glove, hot glove. Oh, and cast iron dishes, you can also get a silicone slip to go around the handle. That helps protect you from the heat as well. I don't have any, but in the meantime. So now let's just turn this pan just a little bit. Just like you were basting a steak, just gently. And you can see it's changing color. That didn't take much. I'm going to take my spatula. That just slides right underneath. Oh, I mentioned it before. Get your plate and bring it close. There you go. Now, we know that that's turned off. And look at that jiggle. That's perfect. And there you go. The top is completely cooked. This was basted in water. This one's basted in bacon fat. Now, I will tell you that my niece, one of them, has always loved whenever she came over. I always cook eggs when I'm making a big breakfast for everybody. I cook the eggs in bacon fat, whether it's on a skillet or whether we've got one of those flat irons. Cook the bacon, cook the eggs, cook the French toast, all of it. It adds a ton of flavor to your eggs, but you also have to be careful with adding salt to your eggs afterwards because there is saltiness in the bacon, and that does come through. So, the other thing about frying in bacon, let's see if I can show this to you real quick. The underside of this egg, or that egg, this is all crisp. You can see it on the edges here as well. So the bacon fat really crisps the egg up quite a bit more, so you got that little different texture to it. It's my favorite way. So, and again, it's a nice way of doing things so that you don't have to worry about over easy, over medium, over hard. If you're afraid or you're nervous or you're just not quite comfortable with turning your eggs, this is a great alternative. Great alternative. Whether you're using cast iron, stainless steel, non-stick, stainless steel with a lid or another pan and a little bit of water. Cast iron, if you cook with bacon and you're using bacon fat or oil of some sort, never ever use water. Ever. And what you want to do is tilt that pan up and spoon that wonderful fat right over top and get the top of that yolk cooked. And take your time. There was no rush there. You saw just a couple little light rushes. You don't want to risk throwing bacon fat, catching it on fire on the stove, or burning yourself or anything else. Take your time. All right? So, wonderful meal. I'm going to now have my bacon and eggs. So, thanks for coming. I hope this video was insightful. Please like and subscribe so I can keep getting more and more videos out to you. Remember that you're never out of the fight, you're never alone. If you ever start feeling that way, come on over here to Code 4 Cooking. Let's cook something together. All right? Take care, and we'll see you soon.